the Wild West. It's something that we usually see in movies, but done in the same way. A story of a cowboy, Indians, a woman that gets abducted by the Indians, so on and so forth. It's all the same. But not the Ballad of Buster Scruggs. I first heard about this film when I was playing Red Dead Redemption with my friends, and we were all exchanging some movies that we liked. They said the Ballad of Buster Scruggs. They recommended it to me because of the deeper meanings that it had within the film, and because, well, you could watch it at any time, from one story to the next, whenever and wherever you want. It's just easy to digest. It's not like your typical westerns with all that cliche stuff, but it has different stories that are there to teach you a lesson. I mean, that is what a ballad is for. I ended up watching it and I loved it, and I even loved the meaning behind the film. And I'm going to go a little bit more in depth about what I think that each part of the film was about. So without further ado, let's get to it. We start off the film with a jovial man called Buster Scruggs who's singing. We learn that he's a man that doesn't like people cheating and wants people to be fair no matter what. He realizes that he could easily kill anybody who he wants. We see that he's quick-witted, quick-minded, and has the quickest trigger in the West. He's a great cowboy. And then we see that someone comes along and has a quicker trigger. And to this, Buster Scruggs remarks,
I should have seen this coming. Can't be top dog forever.
And this quote stuck up like a sore thumb to me, because it's a constant reminder that even if you're good, someone will be better, and people will in the end forget about you. You could even see this in sports. For example, Michael Jordan, he idolized Magic Johnson, much like the kid idolized Buster Scruggs. Eventually, Michael Jordan became one of the best basketball players of all time, surpassing Magic Johnson. Kind of like how the boy surpassed Buster Scruggs. And you could keep on going with the sports examples, but I don't want to bore you. But overall, the Ballad of Buster Scruggs is supposed to be a reminder that eventually you're not going to be that top dog forever. You might slow down because of your age, you might slow down because of other factors, but you're not going to be number one always. What I took away from this is that it was more of a critique on society and mainly on the thought of it having to be fair. We tend to think that the world should be fair, but this story is just a reminder that it's not always going to be fair. We first see that society isn't fair when the robber comes in. It's not fair for the robber to rob. He's taking money away from the people that made a living. And usually the tellers don't even put up a fight because, well, the robbers are armed. But later on, we see that the teller fights back, and we even hear the robber say later,
That pan-covered son of a bitch back at the bank don't hardly fight fair, in my opinion.
Us as humans, we think that the world should be fair, and in order for the world to be fair, you have to exploit things just like the teller did with the pans. Another example of this in this ballad is that later someone comes up and rescues him, but then leaves him when the lawmen come close because he knows his punishment. It's not fair for the guy to be tried for something he didn't do, but the world isn't fair. Overall, in order for the world to be fair, it also has to be unfair. I know I might be in the minority over here, but the meal ticket one was one that I really liked. I understood it more as a critique on how capitalism causes businesses not to care for people. We see that the orator's cared for a man, mainly just because he gets money from it. He bathes him, he provides for him, he acts like he cares, but in the end, he doesn't really. He's only self-interested and cares about the money. And it even shows when he hires a sex worker for the night, only for himself. He starts to see that the orator no longer is providing a lot of money for him anymore, so he moves on to try looking for the next thing that will. As soon as he finds something, he disregards the orator and pretty much leaves them for dead. We see this even in our current day with a lot of businesses. When businesses start getting profits, we see that they usually start laying off people in order to increase profits. To streamline productivity, big companies usually offer severance packages when things like this happen, but just like the man did to the orator, the business doesn't really care for you and they move on and just leave you alone. As a side note, I would like to add that the editing here was really good and I really enjoyed it, because as time went on, you could slowly start to see that the artist wasn't truly loved by the man that we thought was his friend. This one, I saw it as a critique on society. Again, how it tries to reap the benefits that other people have done and claim it as their own. The prospector, he mines for many days so he can get the gold that he's been looking for, and then someone comes in and tries to kill him and claim it as its own. It just shows that some people don't care what it takes to be successful. They will try to hurt others to get what they want, and in the end, both parties hurt one another to get the reward, albeit one did get hurt more severely. And in society, we see a lot of this going on, whether it be from like startup companies or other companies. There's a lot of instances where people don't really care about others and put them down. The gal who got rattled was more of a critique on playing things safe. From the start, we see that Alice is complaining about her brother who takes too many risks. Her brother says that sometimes you have to take these risks, and she just goes along with it because it's safer for her future. She likes to play things safe, and throughout the story she wants to play it safe with others, with her situation, with everything in general. She tagged along with her brother because that was a safer thing for her to do. She had no other family that could keep her safe. With the wagon boy, she wants to be sure that she can get the money and that the situation is taken care of. She then accepts Mr. Knapp, so then she can make sure that she knows what she will do in Oregon, as well as having a solution to the wagon boy. We then see later she takes a risk for the first time in the film and searches for her brother's dog. She is then punished by this by having Indians attack her, and Mr. Arthur comes to save her. This time, he tells her what the Indians would do if she doesn't play it safe and take the gun. She then later assumes that Arthur is dead and shoots herself instead of choosing to defend herself, even though she had 2 bullets. One that could have possibly shot another person in an emergency, and one to shoot herself if the man isn't dead already or more Indians come up. She didn't want to take a risk, instead takes the safe way. No hesitation. If she took the risk, she could have lived well and had a good future with Mr. Knapp, maybe. And I think that's the main thing that they wanted us to take away from this portion. Don't be afraid. Take a risk. Even if you don't know what's going to happen, take a chance, because something good might have happened. If she had waited just a few more minutes, took a risk, she would have been alive. There's a ton of analysis on this portion in the film, and rightfully so. It has a deeper meaning in all of it, and every little creative decision inside the movie, it just has significance in it. But I think that this portion is here to remind us to stop worrying about what happens and just enjoy things. All the characters start off discussing what's the nature of man is. They're all the same, if they are of one way or the other, or if everyone is different and you cannot understand it. It's kind of like, in a sense, what I'm doing over here. What I'm thinking about this movie is I'm arguing that this is this way, meanwhile everybody else is arguing in a different way. As time goes on and all of them are arguing over what's the true meaning of man, we see that 2 people, the bounty hunters, start to assert their opinion. They then go break the 4th wall and say that they enjoy watching people trying to get what it truly means. This is just the Coen brothers telling to all the viewers that he's enjoying people like me that are analyzing his films and see what they are trying to grasp from it. It's enjoyable for another person to watch it, even though it could just be a film that they just made for the heck of it. And I think that it all ends up tying to the main theme that all this is meaningless, that we should just enjoy life and do what makes us happy, instead of sitting here analyzing things that might not even make sense in the end. Just try to live your life to the fullest and try not to make sense of useless things that shouldn't really matter in the end. I don't know. But overall, this movie was a solid movie that I enjoyed watching, and its deeper meanings were just really good in my opinion. Me and some friends, we ended up talking about this for a long time, so I knew immediately that I should probably make a video on this. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about the movie if you've seen it, whether you think I'm right in these opinions or if I'm wrong. And if you liked the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and maybe subscribe.